Hey everyone, I am Sandi Ballard, the Badass Business Coach, and welcome back to the weekly podcast and videocast. No more excuses. Yes. Happy Monday, everyone. And just to remind you, I am a DISC certified business coach, which means I'm a personality and communication specialist. I've spoken at conferences all across the United States. I've facilitated hundreds of team building workshops and just got hired to do another one coming up in Washington State. So really cool. And just wanted to make sure I share that with you, especially if you're new. So, yes, a DISC certified coach means I work with people on learning how to communicate more effectively and work more efficiently because you're speaking more effectively, which means your teams and everyone, whether it's vendors, people in your personal life, you can understand how you want to receive communication, how you want to give it, and also respect other ways that other people want to give and receive information as well, right? Yes, it's super fun. I love it. It's really cool. But anyway, I want to make sure I mention that. And so thank you again for being here. Thanks for listening or watching the podcast, for sharing it with others, because without you, I wouldn't be inspired to do another one. No. And that's the theme today. Yes, inspiration. Inspiration comes from many ways, many forms, and sometimes when it's least expected, right? You could be reading something, meditating, working out, relaxing, just, out and about. Perhaps you see something and it just helps connect the dots, or there's a little bit of whatever you needed to have that full aha moment and get things done, right? It could be a color or an event, a person, I don't know, just something that helps evoke that spark that was missing. And I talk a lot about motivation. It's what keeps you moving, makes progress, helps you get shit done, right? If you aren't motivated, then you're not going to achieve those goals, are you? And I wanted to understand a little bit because, inspiration comes from motivation. Inspiration can help things, is really what's going to take it long term, right? You can be motivated for short term, but inspiration is longer. So here's what I found on the lovely web, right? Motivation often happens on a short term basis, whereas inspiration sticks around for longer. I was like, okay, I understand that. The thing I'm a little interested in is motivation comes from external sources, whereas inspiration stems from internal stimulants. Inspiration can be more spontaneous, whereas we always don't see it coming, but motivation is predictable. I'm all in on inspiration is that feeling inside you, comes from within. But I'm not sure I'm 100% that motivation can be predictable, right? I think motivation can come from anywhere at any moment, I don't know, perhaps I'm missing the concept of it, but unless I can be motivated by people, I can be motivated by things, and unless it's cleaning the house, that, I'm motivated. I'm pretty motivated a lot, but the motivation is what drives that inspiration, right? Gets it going, so unless I'm cleaning the house, because then my motivation is going to be spontaneous and short-lived, right? But I can't say that was predictable. Something just said, the house needs cleaning. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? People tend to also use the word inspiration with creatives. A writer or an artist, they're inspired to create, right? I was inspired by to write my first book, From There to Here, by my friend Rob Jackson. After I read his book, Campfire Leadership, you know, I just, something lit up inside of me. My book wasn't about anything about his book, Campfire Leadership. By the way, you should check it out on Amazon. But I was told by my mentor, Hazel Walker, that to be taken seriously, this was over 10 years ago when I first started coaching, that, to be taken seriously as a speaker, to be taken seriously, not necessarily as a coach, but more of a speaker and team building, that I needed to write a book, needed to have something. And I was like, okay, that's motivating. It was more like a little kick in the ass to get things going, but it wasn't what I needed. And, I got Rob's book to support him, and I sat down. I was at the airport actually getting ready to go visit my daughter. And once I finished it, just something lit up, that spark inside of me. he inspired me to write my first book. And, now that I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, so the outside motivation was that I really needed that book, right, to get more speaking gigs. But I needed the inspiration to write it. So I think that's pretty much how all of my books have come to fruition. All four, by the way. It started with a motivation that something, needed to happen. Okay, I wrote the first one. People were asking, when's the next one? When's the next one? When's the next one? So that was kind of cool, you know, but it just sat there. So until something inspired me, until that spark lit up inside me, the book just sort of sat there and marinated, right? So what about you? What has inspired you? What has inspired you enough to accomplish something or you've succeeded at? And not inspiration isn't just for creatives, right? It could be that something inspired you to start your business. I've talked to people where, unfortunately, like a death or a sickness, has inspired them. There was that idea to start a business, but then that that tragedy helped them kind of light up because their motivation was to help other people that have been through that situation, right? It doesn't have to be a tragedy. It could be something amazing and just something in general inspired you to start a business, inspired you to create a new product or service for your business. Something inspired you to help your team. You have staff, right? If things are just sort of flat or you're not really feeling 100% your normal peppy self, what could you do to try to rejuvenate your body, mind, and spirit, your business or career? What could you do to help get out of this situation or get out of that mood? I talk a lot about mindset, right? I have a client who has a staff, who still has a staff person. And her staff person came to her and said, she's been looking for another job. She wanted to be open and honest because she was pretty sure she was going to accept an offer. She was waiting on the offer. And due to that honest conversation, it came out that the staff person just was bored. She wasn't feeling challenged. All her big projects had finished, and she just didn't have anything to inspire her. She was just coming to work every day doing her job, right? But that honest conversation gave her, the ability to open up and inspire my client to inspire her. They were like, oh, she's like, she gave her the freedom and permission, which is what a lot of staff people need, the permission to look for new projects, to find things to inspire them, to find things to help the business, to help themselves, to help everyone, right? A lot of times people will just come to work, do their job not because they are lazy. Some, yes, maybe, but it's more of they're trying to stay in their lane. They're trying to make sure they're not trying to break something to fix it, right? So you need to make sure you're giving your staff people the permission to do a little more, do a little extra, inspire them. Perhaps ask them what inspires them or keeps them inspired. You know, People just don't necessarily know that they have, like I said, the permission or the ability to do more outside of their lane. So how can you inspire others to do more? Since motivation is allegedly from external sources and short lived, it's not always an easy answer to say what inspires you because that comes from within. Something triggers that inspiration. You've got passion. I talk about having the passion for what you do to get up every day and do it all over again. So passion and motivation together. If you're excited about it and then you can get motivated, the inspiration is what's going to keep it going, right? So think about it. Think about your goals. What's something you just haven't achieved or just something you've been wanting to do, but just can't seem to accomplish it? What can you do? I don't know. Get out to nature. Take some time for you. Oh, I don't know. Change up your routine. Yeah, I've done that quite a bit lately, especially since the vid, right? We want to change things up. I'll go run north or ride my bike north instead of south. I'll change up the days I'm running or working out. Just do something different. Journal, read, or just allow. your mind to wander. That's when the things will come to you. That's when the ideas will flow and the inspiration will hit. So I look forward to hearing from you and all about your inspiration. What maybe I want to hear a story. Tell me a time, tell everybody a time when something inspired you or when inspiration hit and it allowed you to get to that next level. All right, I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great inspirational week. Cheers.